It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want this shit forever, mine, ever mine, ever mine. I'm shutting shit down in the mall, and telling that girl she the one for me, and I ain't even planning the call. I want this shit forever, mine, ever.
What's poppin', T Squad? It's me, Keisha, aka Color Me Pynk, and I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 9 review. I drop videos Monday through Sunday. My jokes are not to be taken seriously or literally, so if that works for you, then let's get into this review. I'm gonna start off this week with Max, McKinley, and Dominique. So the episode begins with them sitting down with the pastor, and Dominique says that she's over it. And the pastor's like, over what, girl? I need for you to speak English, act like an adult, talk like an adult. She's like, I'm just over this. And he was like, girl, over what? And she was like, I just want a divorce. And so the pastor thinks that her being 25 might be too young to have, went along with this experience. She, however, doesn't think so. And I'm like, girl, your age and your mental maturity plays a lot into why your relationship has ended up the way that it has. A big chunk of it, 80%, I want to say, is because of your age and immaturity. So the pastor was like, you're choosing to quit after the first real bump in the road. Like, y'all ain't even been through nothing. Like, you ain't even tried. Like, they've only been at it now for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 14 days, and she already talking about she want a divorce. She is childish. She is immature. Everything that she's putting off on him is really a reflection of herself. Now, is it a turnoff for her that he is living in somebody else's house in their basement? It probably is, but the man told you the reason why. It's not that he can't afford a place. He just moved there. He just started the experience. If y'all getting together and have gotten married, what was the point of him rushing out and getting another place when, if he's started this experience and he has a wife, y'all have to build a life together and get a home together? Like, she didn't even try. And I'm like, girl, you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. You act like you living at Trump Towers or something. Like, she acting like she is just living in a penthouse suite. Like, she is the Jeffersons. Like, you are mediocre at best, love. Simmer down. You ain't that cute. Like, you are a hillbilly bumpkin. Like, come on, girl. You didn't even try at all. You want things to go your way. And when things don't go your way, you wipe your hands of it. And it's probably because of the way you were raised that you was able to do and say what you wanted to. And if people didn't roll with it, then, oh, well, this is not how marriage goes, little girl. Bye. We then see her have lunch with her mom. And her mom is really upset that things didn't work out in the marriage. She wished that she would have had an opportunity to, talk to McKinley again and things. And Dominique was like, he started being very petty. Like, she kept on using the word petty. And that was the wrong word to use, first of all. She told me he was very vocal about the things he didn't want to do. Okay, he was uncomfortable doing certain things. That's a part of y'all being in a relationship and you helping him to be more adventurous. But that's just not going to happen in 14 days, little girl. Gosh. So her mama was like, well, did you tell him that his complaining was a bit much? And she was like, yeah, he said that he work on it. And the mama was like, well, did you give him time to? Like, girl, once again, it's only been 14 days. Like, chill out. Just because he said he didn't want to do a couple of activities, like, you just like, that does not mean that he is a good husband. He doesn't like to do anything. Girl, you gonna mess around and get with somebody that likes to do all the activities you like and be broke, be mentally, physically abusive, ain't got no money. Girl, grow up. So then the mama was like, Dominique was like, I didn't come into this process to change anyone. And the mama was like, well, do you think you could have been more patient? And she was like, I felt like I was very patient. You felt like you was very patient. You gave the marriage 14 days before you pulled out. Girl, straightening your hair ain't gonna straighten that brain of yours because you don't have nothing up there. Now we're gonna go to Clint and Gina. We see Clint have a talk with his friend about the fact that him and Gina are not really attracted to each other. And his friend was like, it takes time. Y'all have to give it time. And in a process like this, that is what this process takes. time. It's going to take more time than the 6 to 8 weeks that y'all got in the process. Y'all have to give this time before y'all just say, let's just cut the cord and just leave each other alone. Like, y'all literally married at first sight. Things are just not going to be 100% just white doves right off the bat. Like, I don't understand what these people be going into this process thinking that's what's going to happen. Thankfully, Gina has decided to move in. They're not sleeping in the same room, but at least she's trying and she did not give up. So I will give her kudos for that. They have their housewarming and Gina is in the room talking to her girlfriends, and she basically tells them that where they're at right now, the positives definitely outweigh the negative, and that she thinks that she was overthinking the move. And I do think that she was letting her anxiety and her fears and the fact of that, that they had the disagreement and argument early on, push her back from trying to move forward in the relationship. And so I'm happy that she's at least willing to try to put her guard down with him and work the process. We then see him talking to his people, or either they were her people. No, yeah, they were her people, her friends and stuff. And he was like, I think we judged a little early, but I think we're on a positive track. And this episode they both were trying. They both were opening up. And I really appreciate it about that, because, that could have really deterred them with, the jabs that they were taking towards each other in the beginning. But I'm happy that they're at least trying to put forth the work to get past that and really get to know each other. Now, how long that's going to last, I don't know, but at least they trying. Up next, we have Jasmine and Eris. So we see Eris link up with his kissing cousin, Felina. The hater is back. Her and her saggy titties are back. And he tells her that Jasmine isn't his normal type and that he has a wall up that won't allow the attraction between them to build. And he says that, she's a great person. She's a great wife, great friend. She's super caring, but that his sexual desires just isn't there. And, he says that she took him not wanting her in that, type of way, like a lady, like she didn't go at him or anything like that. And here go Felina, the hater, talking about that sounds very textbook. And then in her confessional, she says she seems very fake to me. If it hurts you, say it hurts you. Well, everybody's not as blunt as you. Some people don't like confrontation. Some people don't like to hurt other people's feelings. Some people don't know how to voice their, feelings when they're hurt or when they're angered. Some people just aren't that blunt. That does not mean that the girl is fake. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if she tried to be in a pageant one day when she was younger and got denied, or came into 5th place, or won a volunteer award and not the crown. But it seemed like homegirl got something against pageant girls or something. Like, she's weird. She's way too invested in this man's life, in this process. It gives me she wanted to be the bride. Like, I don't know what's up with her, but she just judging this girl and just being so harsh and mean for no reason. And it's weird. While you talking about she seem fake, you seem bitter and angry and unhappy and clogged up. Like, you need some peanuts in your life. Like, I don't know what's the deal with you, sis. So he asked her, is she coming to their housewarming party? And she was like, she ain't coming because he's not invested in the marriage and she don't see it lasting no way. And she was like, I told you not to get married, so either you gonna work on your marriage or get out and not waste any more of your time. Now, that was like the realest thing that she said at this point. Either you gonna really try to work at this or leave the girl alone. Leave the girl alone. And I'm really not understanding how all of a sudden he not attracted to her. Because at first he was, being, real, sexual when it came to her and the things that was coming out his mouth. And then when she shut him down and let him know it wasn't going to be that easy, that's when it flipped to I'm not attracted to her. He's a weirdo too. He's really weird. Their whole family is weird and funny looking. We then see Jasmine and Eris at the crib talking about their housewarming party, and he brings up the fact that she does not want Felina there. And she was like, she's not a person I'm comfortable being around. And why would you want somebody in your house that don't like you? You don't like me. You don't champion or support our marriage. So why would I want you around? I don't care if that is your cousin. Absolutely not. And she was rude to me. So Um, she says, that she knows that his cousin thinks that she's fake. And he tells her that Felina was like, she didn't want to come no way. And she was like, okay, good. We on the same page. So Eris is like, in her mind, it's not real yet. Maybe a year from now, we might be laughing about this. And Jasmine was looking like child cheese. Even if we are still together. No, a year from now, we won't be laughing about this. Child, bye. It's the day of their housewarming, and she has her aunt and I believe like a friend or a cousin over, and he has some of his friends come by. And they're sitting down kikiing. Now, I don't know who that girl was. Like I said, I don't know if that was her cousin or a friend with that little wrap skirt on. And she's sitting there with her legs cocked wide open. I'm like, I hope this is like a skirt or something, girl, because you just got your legs sitting wide open. Oh, God. So both of them tell they people that they're not the best communicators. And he brings up, the fact that they had the conversation about who they were going to invite to the housewarming and how he said that he wanted Felina to come. And then she waited until after the fact and texted him saying that she wasn't comfortable with Felina coming. And I was like, well, okay, she didn't tell you then, but at least she told you. So I think that she communicated effectively, but he felt like she should have told him then. He tells her people when they have their little one-on-one conversations that he would be excited if she did get rid of her dogs. Like, he is not feeling the dogs. He can deal with one, but not all of them. And I don't blame him for that, because 4 dogs is a lot. 9 or whatever many that she really got. That's too much, and that's nasty and unsanitary to me. So she tells his boys, that they aren't having, the SEX. And his friend was like, well, do you think the experts picked right? And she was like, I actually do think they picked right. We have a lot in common. We just have not gotten past that hurdle because, he's not attracted to me in that way yet. And, that has to hurt her self-esteem, the fact that he's just acting like he's just not into her in that way. So her aunt says to Eris, are you willing to take the effort to see how this is going to work out? And if you can love her or show that, I'm falling in love with you. And Eris says, I'm going to try and see where it goes. Like, oh, God. I don't understand why people really sign up for this show, because half of the people that I feel like do this show are not 100% committed to the process. Not at all. Not at all. And at this point, I wouldn't even be attracted to him. The fact that he up here wearing this 1992 Gap plaid shirt looking like he going to his 4th grade dance. Like, boy, ugh. Cole and Chris are up next, and she goes out to lunch with her girlfriend and says that, he compliments her all the times, and, she loves it, but she also questions if it's real or if he's just trying to, sweet talk her and appease her. And I think that has more to do with her than him. And I think that it has to do with her self-esteem and not really truly believing that she is an attractive woman. She says that she's also waiting to find something wrong. And I think based off what we're going to see next week, she's going to find her something wrong. Like, she's just been waiting for the other shoe to drop and just not believing that this man is who he says that he is, or thinks. She even says that she thinks that she'll be the one to mess things up. She'll be the one to blow things up. And I honestly believe that. I think that she's so used to being with men that ain't about nothing, that now that she's found one that treats her really well, she don't know what to do with it. She don't know what to do with it, and she questions it because she just does not believe that there are really good men out there in the world. So she says, if it didn't turn out well, I think it'll be because of my actions. And her friend was like, well, you can't be afraid to be yourself to protect him. And I agree. She needs to show him who she really is. And she needs to let him know how she feels about certain situations and not be afraid to hurt his feelings. Like, she needs to be upfront with him. But there's a way to tell somebody something and not be rude about it. You know what I'm saying? And I think if she did that, it would be better for their relationship. On the day of their housewarming, they have friends and stuff over. And she tells his friends that she doesn't want him to appease her all the time. Like, she wants him to let her know how he feels. And her friends tell him not to be a pushover and that she likes a man that will check her from time to time. And I agree. It's great to be sweet. It's great to be all that. But he does need to make his presence known, and that he is a man and that he is a leader. Because don't nobody want no man that they feel like they always got to lead into things and that they got to be the leader and the thinker and the doer. Like, I don't want that. I want a man to lead me. Okay? Shaquille and Kirsten are up next, and they have their housewarming party with two married couples that they both know. And she tells her married couple friends that she's trying to open up with him and he's being really patient, but she doesn't want to discourage him with, her hesitancy and how slow she's moving. And I think that it is getting to the point where he's kind of getting like, okay, girl, enough is enough. And so he asks his friends, is he being too patient? Should he speed things up and try to take the reins of the situation without trying to push her or, be too forward? And they tell him, is that basically take your time, with the process. And his friend was like, let the chemistry build with intentions. And Kristen's friend lets her know that they weren't even attracted to each other for the first year of them knowing each other. And then all of a sudden one day it was just like boom, pow, like this person is my person. I'm very confused by Kirsten at this point. I don't know where this girl headed. Sometimes she act like she into him. Other times she's acting like he get on her nerves and like he doing too much. So I'm like him. I don't even know where they stand. Like, cause you don't know what you're going to get from her on what day. It almost feels like she's playing it up for the cameras. Like everything is good, but from what we've heard from him, when the cameras is off, she acts totally different. And it's starting to show on television. It really honestly is. So all the couples at the end of the episode, or towards the end of the episode, gather in the common area of the apartment to have a little potluck and to see how everybody is doing thus far. And Gina praises Clint for being a great hostess to her friends and getting along with everybody. And he says that, he wants to dive in with Gina and get to know everything about her. So they're really in a good place. They're laughing with each other and smiling. And everybody notices that they've come such a long way from the last time they all were together. So Max was like, well, has anybody done it yet? And no, Nicole and Chris admit that they have. And Jasmine, Nicole asked, Jasmine what was up with them. And she was like, well, I'm very attracted to my husband, but he's not attracted to me in that way. And, she was making faces and kind of rolling her eyes because her ego is bruised. And she was like, I've never had to be in this position where a man didn't want me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot for her. And you can tell it's starting to really weigh on her. And Shaquille was like, well, she wasn't attracted to me at first, but now every 5 minutes she rubbing my head and stuff. And he was like, it'll take time. With them though, I don't know if time is on their side though. So then Max lets everybody know that he and Dom are getting a divorce. And Dominique was like, he's made a few comments that made me feel like he wasn't happy. And I was like, what? Huh? That ain't what we just saw. What? And she was like, I don't like negative energy in my life. So I felt it was best for us to cut things off before things turn toxic. And McKinley was like, well, I don't agree with that. He was like, I was 100% blindsided that you asked for a divorce. It was the belittling that started on the honeymoon. There's been no compromise, though. I feel like I've been the one doing all of the compromise. And she was belittling him. She was putting him down. She did find fault in everything that man said and did. Like nothing he did was good enough. And once again, I don't know who this girl thinks she is. You ain't Princess of Zamunda, girl. So Clint and Kirsten tell them not to give up. And Nicole was like, Dominique, I love you and I say this out of love, but you will regret this. Is there any way that taking a little time apart and maybe starting again fresh could work? And she was like, maybe. And everybody's cheering like, oh my God, we got a maybe. There's hope. Okay. After that, they then go back up to their apartment and they're talking. And she was like, that was a lot. And oh my God, her in that Billie Jean jacket. And Max was like, well, why did you say maybe? And she was like, well, Nicole was looking at me with those glaring eyes and I felt pressured. And I'm like, you keep on talking about he immature and he childish and he petty. Look, girl, grow up. If you didn't want to be with him, you should have stood 10 toes down and said, nah, I don't see it like that. It just ain't working for me. I still want a divorce. You're not going to let nobody peer pressure you into saying maybe. Like, girl, grow up. So McKinley was like, well, where do we go from here? And she was like, I want to be your friend. And he was like, well, I don't want to be your friend. Like, girl, what? I didn't sign up for a pen pal. Like, absolutely not. And so she gonna say in her confessional, the petty statements that have been said are kind of immature, and I don't want to incorporate that into my life. I think I've been pushed to my limit, and I'm gonna go piece myself back together. Like, she really act like somebody did something to her, like she's the victim in this situation. And you keep on talking about these petty statements and immature comments and all of this type of stuff, and I'm like, you're the immature person in this relationship. That man ain't did nothing to you. You have complained since y'all got on that honeymoon. Complained, and found fault with that man. And it does have a lot to do with your age. It does have a lot to do with your mental immaturity. You're not ready to be nobody's wife. I don't understand how your mama signed you up for this process, because it says a lot about your mama that she don't even know who her child is to think that she's mature enough to be somebody's wife. Okay? You should have been on Love Connection, or maybe The Perfect Match, or Cheetahs. Not on Married at First Sight, girl. Absolutely not. Get her off my TV. She was a waste of time and a horrible dresser. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode down below in the comment section. Overall, I'm going to give tonight's episode a B-. It was really good. Let me know what y'all thought. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.